So ihram, what is ihram now? A lot of people think ihram are the sheets. Ihram are not the sheets. Ihram is a state that you're in. And sometimes they talk about the takbiratul ihram. So when you say Allahu Akbar in salah, is there anything changed about me? My clothes up? No, nothing's changed. But when I say Allahu Akbar, right, I'm going into, basically, it's called takbiratul ihram because certain things become haram on you. So before salah, I could speak. Before salah, I could eat and drink. As soon as I say takbir Allahu Akbar, I can't speak to anyone. I can't eat and drink anything, right? So there's certain restrictions on me. Think of the ihram as the same thing. When you put your ihram on, certain things become forbidden to you, okay? Which we'll talk about in a minute. So you go into a state of ihram. Now, because it's not the sheets, this is quite important because from a practical perspective, if you're getting a flight, so last year we got a flight from Manchester and I went all the way to Jeddah. Unless you want to, a whole group of you, 40 people trying to change it ihram in the plane's toilets, which you have to be reasonably small to do that easily. What you can do is put your ihram on, okay, or put some of the sheets on, for example, underneath, because that's not the ihram. That's not the ihram. That's just sheets. And then when you get close to what's called the miqat, or the place where you have to be in a state of ihram, which is about, to be honest, only about 20 minutes before you land in Jeddah airport. At that point, and they usually announce it on the plane anyway, at that point you would then, okay, take off maybe your thawb or something, put on the top sheet. This is obviously all for men. And then you would make your intention, and then you do the talbiyah, Allahumma labbaik, Allahumma labbaik. It's only when you do these two things that you go into ihram, okay? So that's an important point, because someone, I got a question last year, they went to the airport, put the ihram on, and then the flight got cancelled. You see? So you don't know what's going to happen, and therefore you do not want to go into ihram until you really have to. And obviously the prohibitions, the longer you're in ihram, the more prohibitions, the longer the prohibitions are going to be. Okay, so bear that in mind. So again, if your flight is, for example, going to Istanbul and then you're stopping there, that's fine. When you get to Istanbul, most people put their sheets on there, that's fine. So that's for something you to work out yourself. Then you get to the haram, and the first thing you do is probably go to your hotels, put your luggage in. You might have something to eat. People will decide when to do it. The Umrah, usually people do it straight away, some people do it later because they're tired. And you will go to the haram, you do the tawaf, 7 circuits, and then you will pray 2 rak'ahs, which are wajib, to pray after every tawaf. And Maqam Ibrahim, and Maqam Ibrahim, a lot of people think it has to be where the Maqam Ibrahim is near the Kaaba. The 2 rak'ahs can be prayed anywhere in the haram. Okay, so don't be a nuisance and get stop in the path of people doing tawaf. Go behind and don't take a selfie. Right? You'll see people doing all sorts of things, making videos, FaceTiming. You'll see bizarre things happening. Just focus on yourself. Don't get distracted. And just if you can't find space, go somewhere in the haram, pray 2 rak'ahs. After that, you drink Zamzam. And Zamzam is one of the things you should drink as much as you can whilst you're there. And you only get, I think, 5 litres or something when you come back. So you can drink as much whilst you're there. And there's a hadith, Zamzam lima shuribala. Zamzam is for the intention you drink it with or for, which means that whatever intention you make whilst drinking the Zamzam, you will be granted that. So if you, for example, I say that you take 1 sip, make the intention of good health. Take another sip, for example, protection of your iman. Take another sip, for example, you're finding it difficult to get married. Ya Allah, make it easy for me to get married. So with every sip, make a dua. And this is one of the few times that we drink water standing. Every time you look at the Kaaba, it's an act of worship. So, when you're drinking Zamzam, by all means, look at the Kaaba. As much as you can look at the Kaaba, do it. Even if you're not, sometimes you can't keep praying or doing dhikr or Quran, you get tired, just sit and look at the Kaaba. Just sitting and looking at the Kaaba is an act of worship. And what I encourage people is to look at it and try to almost imprint it in your mind, so that when you come back to your cities and you say Allahu Akbar, it'll be different from when you used to say Allahu Akbar before, because you can try to visualize the Kaaba in front of you. And then you do the Safa Marwa, the Sa'i. So there's signposted. You go to Safa, and from Safa to Marwa is 1. From Marwa back to Safa is 1. So you start Safa and you finish at Marwa. And this is obviously where Hajar, the wife of Ibrahim alayhi salam, she did this so long ago. She was sustenance for her child Ismail alayhi salam. And when she looked back, she saw that this is where Zamzam comes from. Zamzam was coming out from his feet. Okay, so then you shave or trim. Obviously, shaving is only for men. Women are not allowed to shave their heads, right? Even if it's fashionable. Or you can trim. So if you're shaving, that's quite clear what it is. Trimming, the minimum, again, the schools differ on this. The Shafi school, for example, just says a few hairs. The Malikis and Hanbalis say the entire head. The Hanafis say a quarter of the head. So if you're trimming, you should take, at least, maybe like an inch all around your head. This is for men. If it's for women, then they would, if they got long hair, they would basically get the end of the hair and cut a quarter. Now it's very important, especially for women, that it's a quarter of your entire hair, because you have different lengths, right? I'm not an expert in female hair, but from my understanding, there'll be different lengths. So you may only actually cut a small amount of your actual hair, because at the end, it's just the longest hairs, but the shortest hair that you've missed. So you should actually cut a little bit more. Okay, you can have a haircut when you come back to your own city anyway. Okay, so that's the Umrah, and then once you've come out of Umrah, that's it. Khalas, you can put on your clothes, you can have a shower, you can use scent. All the things which were not allowed are now permissible for you, and you just spend your time in the haram. Okay, so that's a bit about the ihram. So main things is intention, garments. So that's for males. For females, there's no restriction apart from they shouldn't cover their face. Whereas for men, it's any stitched garments. And also footwear is important, which I'll come to. So restrictions of ihram: you're not allowed to remove your hair or nails. So you can do all this beforehand. Applying perfumes, so you're not allowed to use any scent. Covering the head or face for men. So if you're men, don't cover your head. And this is quite important, because what happens is sometimes, because it's hot, I've seen people, they've finished their Umrah and they're going back to the haram, and they use the top half to cover their head. So you've had to say to people, look, if you've not shaved your head, you're still in ihram, and that means you are in breach of ihram. So you have to be careful about that. Also, when you're getting your hair shaved, if it's from the barbers, make sure they don't use soapy water, because until they cut the hair, you're still in ihram. Don't expect that just because people live there, they know the fiqh. And another thing is, don't copy people. When you're at Hajj, doesn't matter how religious the person next to you looks, right? Go back to your scholar in your camp. Do not copy people, because you'll see people doing all sorts of stuff, which I don't know which school it's from, probably their own. Wearing stitched garments for men, so like I said, you have your sheets. Sexual intercourse or intimacy, so it's not only full marital relations, but any intimacy, which is quite important, because I remember last year in the tawaf, the main tawaf of Hajj, there was a couple from our group, and they were obviously recently married and they're holding hands doing tawaf. And if it was an intimate touch, then that would be in breach of ihram as well. So there's lots of things that people do. There's plenty of time to hold hands for the rest of your life. 2 days is not going to make a difference. Okay. Arguing, swearing, and fighting, that's very straightforward. Shoes. So the schools differ on footwear. The strictest is the Hanafi school. So the Hanafi school basically says the bone, which is in your kind of shoelace area, that needs to be completely clear, and also your ankle. So really, you're looking at flip-flops in the Hanafi school. So invest in some good ones. The Shafi'i school and the Maliki school, they say that the shoelace area can be covered, but the ankle bone has to be uncovered. So things like Crocs are fine. And the Hanbalis, you can any kind of footwear is fine. Like I said, don't look at other people. Follow the rules yourself. So that's the little diagram of the Kaaba.